Hey everybody, I hope you all are doing well and welcome back to Michael's Matters. And I, of course, am Michael. And today, for the first time in really a long time, this week there's actually some good news coming out for those folks who are receiving Social Security benefits. So that could be people who are taking Social Security Retirement, Social Security Disability, or SSDI, Supplemental Security Income, SSI, and VA and Railroad Retirement benefits. That means that if you were really looking to do, some Social Security Retirement and Medicare doom scrolling today, then hopefully this video is going to turn that frown just a little bit upside down. Today, we are going to be going over how the cost of living adjustment, or COLA, may actually be lower than initially anticipated for 2023, and moreover, why that is actually better for seniors, what the new Social Security changes for 2023 are going to look like, or at least what I'm looking for. They haven't come out yet, but what I'll be looking for over the next couple months. And maybe, and probably the best news of all, that seniors, retirees, and folks on Social Security may actually see lower Medicare premiums for 2023, which will mean lower prescription drug cost, as well as a potentially lower Part B premium. And ultimately, what that means is more money in folks' pockets. Now, before we get to it, if you like these videos, if you find them interesting, if you find them helpful, or you know what, if you at least find them useful, please don't forget to like and subscribe. That way you can get updates when my newest and most informative videos become available. All right, now let's get down to it. All right, so today let's start with what I think is potentially the best news we got out of this week for seniors and retirees across this country, which is the likelihood of the cost for Medicare for 2023 may stay flat or even potentially go down next year. Now, obviously this is good because, look, in the comments, I do read all the comments, or at least I make a good effort to try to respond to all the ones that I possibly can. But in the comments, especially for our COLA videos, there are lots of people saying, yes, the COLA is going to go up, but Medicare is also going up to go to match, or prices are going to go up to match, and so on and so forth. So it's actually not as much of a windfall. And yeah, that is usually true. But for 2023, this may be one of those few years that is the exception to that general rule. At the moment, we don't know exactly what either the COLA or the Medicare Part B costs will be going up to, but despite the COLA likely increasing, there are some very strong signs that Medicare costs will not go up as much, or they might even stay flat, or they could potentially go down. First and foremost is that the 2023 cost for the Medicare Part D premium, so that is the coverage for prescription drugs, is actually going to drop next year. The Center for Medicare and Medicaid Services recently announced that the average premium for Medicare Part D coverage will be around $31.50 a month in 2023. This is going to be down from what it was in 2022 at the average premium of $32.08. So it's basically a 1.8% drop. Now, I get it, right? You might be like, Michael, 0.58 cents. That isn't even enough to buy a bolt and two nuts to go with it at Home Depot, which is true. That is true. But the hope is that this is a larger indicator of what the Medicare Part B premium will eventually come out to be later on this year. To add further support to this, the Medicare Trust Fund report for 2022, that is the folks who actually run Medicare, they estimate that the premiums will likely stay flat, and that's last year when they did that, in 2023, primarily because of the exclusion of the super expensive Aduhelm Alzheimer's drug that is not going to now be available through Medicare because it turns out it doesn't actually work. So obviously, depending on what the COLA adjust actually comes out to this year, if the Part D premium is dropping 1.8%, or the Medicare Part B, which is, again, the big monthly expense that a lot of seniors have right now in 2022, that's $170.10 a month. If it does stay the same, and the COLA increases continue to go out, that means the COLA increase is going to have an outsized effect on the overall budget of seniors and retirees' pocketbooks. So ultimately, I think that is a plus. That is a good thing. Now, it's no doubt that this year the COLA, or the cost of living adjustment for 2023, is likely to be one of the biggest increases that anyone has gotten in living history. This, of course, is going to help those seniors and retirees and folks on Social Security benefits immensely, as the cost of everything has been driven sky high by things like inflation. But the newest economic data that is coming out, and the federal bank attempting to put the brakes on the economy as a whole, puts it that there are already signs that the economy is slowing down, and thus inflation is slowing down, which may ultimately result in COLA being lower than was initially thought just a few months ago. Now, let me reiterate, this is actually good. Now, I know you're thinking, how could less money getting into the seniors' pockets be good? So, two things. The COLA is not meant to help seniors get ahead on their finances. I don't think I needed to tell you all that, but that's not what it was meant for. It's meant to just help them keep their heads above water financially, and we can argue about whether it actually is doing that or not. So it's just meant to adjust how much a person is getting paid so that it accurately compensates for those costs of things that are going up. But it is not a perfect measurement. In fact, it only takes a sample of the cost of things that the average American pays and compares them over the years to get a general increase of which at this point on average is at 2.3%. So for 2023, the COLA has been estimated, at least early this year, to potentially be as high as 11% increase or maybe around 9%, depending on what the numbers look like over this next month. Either way, this would result in a substantial increase in benefits monthly as far as the dollar number goes for folks on Social Security. But with the economy slowing down and then inflation rate slowing, it means the COLA will likely be on the lower side of that estimate depending on what we get in September, which again is a good thing. The reason that it's good lies in the way that the COLA is calculated, because it just takes a sampling of goods and services that the average American spend on a monthly basis, and it leaves out many of the different costs specifically that seniors have and disproportionately face, things like healthcare, doctor's visits, and medication costs. But what it doesn't miss these things, so what actually does apply to all things, to all sides and all parts of the economy, is inflation. So it affects all those prices. So when the COLA goes out to seniors and retirees, the reason why it never feels like it's enough is because, well, it's not. It doesn't count all the things in the economy that are going up, all those costs, just some of them. And that ultimately leaves seniors to pay those costs out of their pockets. Now, for this specific reason, because not everything is calculated in a COLA, but inflation does affect everything in the economy, with the inflation slowing and the potential COLA being lower for 2023, it's ultimately better for folks on Social Security because although you may not be getting the highest estimated COLA increase in dollars, you will also not feel the full brunt of the inflation increases on your daily life as the economy slows, which ultimately, in the long run, overall, leave seniors in a better financial footing. Now, finally for today, as we round the bend on the end of the year, I like to round the bend on the end. This is when all the big announcement and important changes for programs like Social Security and Medicare and other government programs get put out. So for program watchers like myself, this is game time. And today I want to close with what are the big changes that I'm specifically watching to be announced for Social Security beneficiaries for 2023. These are things that will probably be announced either next month or the following month in November that will have a huge impact on the lives of those folks who are in the Social Security program, whichever version of it that they are in. Now, the first thing that I'm looking for, obviously, is going to be the COLA. Yes, that comes out October 13th. So mark it on your calendar if you have not yet done that. And we are going to have a special off-cycle video specifically for that one. But next, there is going to be things that have smaller, but I like to think equally important effect on people's lives. First is the highest Social Security benefit amount. So in 2022, the amount, the maximum someone can get is at $4,194 per month. That is anticipated to go up with the increase in the COLA. And even if the COLA is a 9 or 11%, I mean, that's going to be a sizable chunk in money on a monthly basis. Now, another important thing that I'm looking out for people who are not yet on Social Security, like myself, but are paying into it, is the change in the taxable earning income limit. So how much of your money, I should say, the government can actually tax to put into Social Security, and that could result in a lot of extra money as well. And then lastly, there is the max amount of earnings for people who took on Social Security retirement earlier but are still working. I know that one's going to be real important as well. And basically, it just says how much money you can make while you are working, while you also have Social Security benefits and not be curtailed as a result of the income from that employment. And then lastly is the increase to the spousal and divorce benefits for folks who are on SSI and Social Security retirement. So of course, these things all, when they come out, I'm going to start doing videos on them, get that information out to you all so you can have accurate understanding of where Social Security is at and your own personal situation. Because again, those are super important, and I think that it's sort of a disingenuous, it's a disjustice, if you will, to have everything Social Security only related to COLA, because ultimately the COLA is not the only thing that affects the lives of those folks on the program. But these benefits all put together may have a much bigger impact on somebody's life. But again, we're going to talk about all of them as they come out moving forward. Overall, I think this is a pretty good forecast for seniors and retirees and people on benefits like Social Security retirement, Social Security disability, SSDI, SSI, Supplemental Security Income, VA, and railroad retirement benefits. I mean, it's looking a little bit more rosy for the year of 2023. I mean, the cost of Medicare not going up, being flat, just in itself would be a pretty big windfall. But I guess on the other side of that, it's also mostly due to the fact that Medicare was actually overcharging people too much for this year, and they're trying to compensate back for 2023. So what that ultimately means for people who were on Medicare in 2022 basically means they were throwing money in the wind, especially if they didn't use it. Also note, it is counterintuitive, I get it, but to have a COLA that is not as big may also be an ultimate good thing. And the ideal situation, I guess, would be if beneficiaries if the inflation stays high till the end of September and then drops off for the rest of the year and 2023 moving forward, then they would get the advantage of the COLA calculated at the higher inflation rate, but then the actual economy drops or doesn't increase as much, would leave beneficiaries with a bit of a windfall. So that could be one situation that could work out. Now last, the numbers that come out, and depending on what they look like for things like max earning, minimum Social Security benefits, spouse support amounts, all that will truly give us a much clearer picture of what 2023 will look like. Not just, the COLA, right? Because that percentage it may be a bellwether, but it is not the end all be all to beneficiaries' lives, at least fiscally. So it'll be really interesting to see all those things. And above all, it seems like 2023 may not be, not as bad, definitely not as bad as 2021 and 2022 for older Americans. But again, we'll just have to see what those exact numbers are to be sure. All right, so that's it for today, and I really hope that you all enjoyed this video. And if you did, if you found it interesting, if you found it helpful, or if you at least found it useful, please don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button. Hit those notification button too, so you can get updates when my newest and most informative videos come out. So for Michael's Matters, I'm Michael, hoping that you take care of yourself, take care of others, and have a happy, healthy